So I knew I was different. I needed just to get out of that cage that I was raised in. But for me to be successful, it wasn't about being something that they taught me to be. It was just be me.
In this episode, I talked to David. David is a photographer and a creative visionary, and he takes us through his journey of leaving expectations behind to pursuing an authentic life. Also, his journey and his story shows us what it means to face fears and choose freedom over convention.
And when you know it's right, it's when you're scared. When you have like this motion of everything, it's just moving, wow, that's when it's good. Then I was like, fuck the world. Cares. And then that's when I just everything changed.
David talks to us about his journey from Colombia to the world, how he faced societal judgment, and what it took for him to define his own version of success.
You just have to really embrace yourself and continue to be you and show to you that what you think and what you are, it's value and it's worth it. And my father, he found out and he came to me and he said hey David, I found this. And I was like, what? And he was like, well, you will have to just come up to me clean, and that for me that's what matters. You're my son and I would love you just the way you are, so I don't care, just be you, be happy. That's what matters.
I believe David's story is a reminder that courage lies at the heart of every meaningful change. His journey shows that it's not about playing by the rules, it's about breaking boundaries, being yourself, living life authentically, and embracing the fullness of who we are as human beings. Do you have something that guided you in your life, like when you look back, because you've went through so many changes, I guess? I mean, yeah, maybe take me on this journey a little bit.
So yeah, I'm actually kind of thinking. So the first thing is, when I was in high school, I was always, I wouldn't say the widow, but I was just like a different kind of normal guy. I used to I still like, but I used to like everything about art, teatro, which is theater, singing, the music. I was just very into that. So I think it all comes from my from my roots. At the end, my family, it's very artistic. So I had like this, I had it in me. So I knew I was different. So I remember when I finished high school, I kind of decided to just go away. Like I needed to go away. I needed to find myself as a person, because I come from a country, which is Colombia, that we are very conservative, sorry. And I needed just to get out of that cage that I was raised in. Like, you have to believe this, you have to be like this, or if you're not like that, then you're not gonna be successful. But for me, successful, or to be successful, it wasn't about being something that they taught me to be. It was just be me, like something that I felt inside. So when I decided to go to Australia, which was one of my first, let's say, adventures in life, man, it was just amazing how you as a person, you as a human, can just develop so many tools in life. And even talking about the language, because I didn't know how to talk or even how to say anything in English. And here I am today. It's like you just develop those skills that on the way is just going to get you somewhere. So, yeah, I think I have had no path in my life. Just going back to the question, I'm just like always following my gut. Like I just feel that anything that feels right to me, it's where I have to be. And that's how I ended up in Mallorca. It's just like, I came to Spain for travel work, and then I got stuck here by COVID. And I was just like, so should I stay? Should I not stay? What do you do in these kind of situations? And I just let myself go. Like, David, maybe this is life telling you that you need to change for a little bit. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. It's just maybe in my head. But I was just following that path. So here I am. In Mallorca now.
When was the first time that you like you're saying you didn't want to fit into this, or you didn't feel like you fitted into this box or this cage or whatever you want to call it, but it's a brave step to even accept that and see that, and then make the necessary changes in your beliefs to get out of this cage. And it's not just there's people around you. These people are your community, let's say, your family, your friends, and it's not easy to say, hey, you know what, I don't believe the same things as you do, and I'm fine with that, and I want to see what the world has to offer me.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for other people, if they're stuck in this cage, to understand that, because they feel like they want the best for you, and they feel like the best for you is staying in that situation, staying in that cage, keep believing the things they are believing. So for me, it seems really brave to take the step. And the question is, when was the first time you remember that you accepted the fact that you are not, this is not where you belong, not in the sense of the country, but in the sense of the belief and the surroundings?
Yeah, I think it just goes back to my school. So I'm gay, you know. That's like the first thing that I'm different in. Like just be, it's like so many things. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was in high school, I kind of, I mean, I'm not gonna say pretend because like I felt it. Like I think it was just human nature, or maybe just me trying to figure who I was. And I mean, I dated girls and I love to be with everybody around. So I was just like, it's cool, but it's not something that I don't feel it. So when I happened to had an experience with a guy, bro, everything, it was just like like um but this was not supposed to be, because like I have been told that it's not good, and like I could not be like this. So
Can you
what
describe the feeling? Like, was it something like you noticed, wow, this is right for me, or is it like this this whole world turned upside down, or what does it feel like? This like, yeah.
So yeah, I think I have the right answer for you, because I think that's actually and I'm still applying that on my life, and it's one of the greatest feeling in life. And when you know it's right, just I'm an artist. I have been on stages. I'm a photographer. I have to meet people every time. So the greatest feeling that when you're doing something right, it's when you're scared. When you have like this motion of like oh, like everything, it's just moving, and like wow, that's when it's good. Like when nothing is
Hmm.
happening here, like not even scared, like yeah, that's easy. I mean, for me, that's not the path to go. So yeah, that's when I realized, because for me everything was just like like a battle of emotions inside me. Like I was just struggling, even with myself. I was like,
Hmm.
no, 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 David, come on, just let's sit down. Talk to yourself, just figure this out. It was just like crazy thing to do. But then I was like, fuck the world, who cares? And then that's when I just like everything changed, and yeah.
Maybe it also transfers to, it's not, like you said, it feels challenging. So it's something that's out of your normal or perceived normality. So it's kind of out
Yeah,
of your comfort. And often this is where the progress happens. And especially when you feel like this, it's pulling me towards it. And I feel I'm getting more to who I am. I mean, we are already ourselves. And often nowadays people say, I need to find myself and stuff. You are already there. You are already that person. But you can take steps to get closer to this authentic version of yourself and
yeah.
really express and live your own truth. And what you said, I feel like this is maybe one of the first steps for you, was one of the first steps for you to get even closer to who you truly are and who you truly can be.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, definitely, as you say, it's like it's not about who, like, yeah, it's about who I am, but it's not about if it's like I'm 100% me, because at the end, I'm still David, but with, like, so many mistakes. Like, I'm still learning to live and to enjoy, because there is not always like a right path. And like for me, that's how I like to live my life. I don't regret mistakes. Like, whenever I like happen something to me, I'm very like not well, very emotional, but I'm very in my head. Like, I think about situations. So what if like this, like, when it's happening, and it's like, let's say I'm fighting with you right now. So in my head it's gonna be like, bro, this is gonna be all the like the options. So David, if you go this way, maybe you're gonna lose Tim as a friend. And if you go this way, maybe Tim is just like, he's gonna be your business partner. Like, it's just maybe to stop and like think, and just like, you have to be empathetic like with situations, because at the end it's not just your life, it's
Mm-hmm.
everybody, like everybody around you. It's And that's one of the things that pulled me here today, the people I love, and they have been like very supportive. And yeah.
It's also interesting that you said it's not only your life, it's also the people surrounding you. And
Yeah.
also, it's not you just right now. It's every decision you take is going to influence your future. So it's going to influence
Yeah.
you tomorrow. It's going to influence you in a year or you in 10 years. And that's a good thing. But it's also really important to keep that in mind when you're making decisions. But what I find interesting for me as well, I'm someone who's really a lot in his own head and overthinking in some situations as well. And I noticed that I have this gut feeling, for example, but then also my head says, hey, you need to think this through. And I'm trying to trust more on how it feels at the moment and notice this feeling, because that was hard for me for a long time. I didn't really recognize the patterns that my body or my feeling was giving me, so I couldn't really tell what I really wanted. And then I got into overthinking and didn't express maybe what I was feeling. And this leads to or led to decisions that I don't regret these decisions, but at the end they turned out to be maybe not the right decision in the moment, but eventually it taught me a lot of things. So in
Yeah.
the future, I will make better decisions. But I find that interesting because if you would have to give someone, there there are lots of people out there who have the same struggle, I guess, and they don't know how to approach these decisions. So if you would have to give an advice for someone who's struggling with that, what advice would you give them?
I think the advice I would give anybody in that situation would be that, just trust yourself. I mean, the path, it's not always going to be easy. There is always going to be people judging by the way you maybe think, you act, you behave, or I don't know, even just, how you speak. So it's
Mm.
just embrace, like, you have to one of the matters that really like people struggle these days with, it's we don't love it like ourselves. It's like we are so dependent on like external factors, like, what they think about me. Like, I have to be this way so people would accept me, but at the end it's you accepting yourself, like how you are, how you're born, your skin color, your whatever your beliefs, but you have to be you. And like, the process is gonna be difficult. Maybe the like the hardest part is just when you meet the real world, like, just you being you to the real world. And that's, um, I would say, a moment that is very hard. And yeah, I don't know, but you have to do it at the end. Like, if they're gonna pull you away, and if they're gonna say you're wrong or whatever, you just have to really embrace yourself and continue to be you, and like, show not to them but to you that what you think and what you are, it's value, and it's worth
Mm-hmm.
it. So I think
Yeah,
that's success in life.
that's beautiful. I think what you said is, or what I feel is, it's trust and acceptance.
Yeah, yeah.
Accept who you are, learn to accept who you are, and then also trust in yourself, trust in the world, trust in your path going forward. And like you mentioned, a lot of people nowadays, they don't love themselves, which goes back to acceptance. And if you're thinking about that, we're often we are worrying about what other people thinking about us. And if you apply that to the loving yourself part, a lot of people are not loving themselves. So why do you care about opinions from people who don't even love themselves? And if you think about
Yeah.
that, that's so interesting, because then it puts it into a totally different perspective where you're like, okay, I can believe in myself and I can trust myself,
Yeah.
and I don't need the approval of other people to have value. And that's basically what it comes down to. And then you can
Ye-
trust again.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But there is one thing that actually goes to like the basic human behaviors, I would say. And it's like, I don't know if you know, but humans, one of the bases of our existence is communication. Like we need to communicate. We need to be like in this, environment of people or like conversations or like if you would be in the desert by yourself for I don't know how long, you would go crazy and you could probably die because we are not used to these kind of things. We need to
Mhm.
communicate. We need to be with people surrounded. So I think from that comes the factor of like giving so much importance to all those people, which
Yeah.
yes, it's okay, but you don't have to like follow what they think. It's like that's the point. Like it's always gonna have to be in the middle point. So I'm not gonna like say whatever, like if you are a narcissist or I don't know, whatever, and I'm this. So we have to like get in the middle and just communicate and accept. Like I cannot like I could judge you, but that's not the point. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just who you are. Like why? As long as you
Mm-hmm.
don't hurt me, it's cool, you know?
Yeah, it goes back to you have this tribe, or you used to have a tribe, and if you didn't fit into the tribe, you would be alone, and then you wouldn't survive. And I think that's where it comes from, that we want acceptance, we want to be
Yeah,
accepted by the
yeah,
people around us.
yeah, yeah.
I want to talk to you about shame. When you're going back to the point where you first noticed your path may be different to other people, did you feel shame in that moment regarding, because your family, the people around you, they probably had other beliefs or saw your life unfolding in a different way. How
Yeah.
did you feel about that?
Um, I think I'm just like recalling the moment. Um, so the first thing it was, yeah, definitely I was ashamed because obviously I didn't want to disappoint anybody in my family, not my mom, not my dad. So I was just very confused and like I just didn't know how to come up to the world and just like say, hey, this is who I am. I'm not even talking about the gay thing. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
this is the way I want to live. I don't want to do like this normal career, like to be a guy in the office and like that's not me. And that's like I need to be me. I need to like feel it inside in my gut. And so yeah, I was very confused and ashamed, and I was just like, how do I do this? And then when I first came out as the thing that it doesn't define me, but it's one of the things that now we're struggling with in society, that I
Mm-hmm.
like men. So I was like, yeah, well, I like men and I like girls and I like everything. Like it's normal. Like at the end, we have two genes. Like we have the feminine and the masculine. So like I come from both. Why do I have to like one? So I was very, for my age, I was very, I don't know how would I say that, but like I just like to make a statement, like this is how I think. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not, even though maybe you feel sad. I probably have been sad, but like you need to accept. And if you don't accept or you don't love me how I am, then there is no point. So yeah, I think I that was how that's how I was feeling.
Yeah, but that must have been scary as well, right? I mean, talking maybe to your family, telling
Yeah, I
them.
mean, the crazy thing that my dad he actually found because like that was I don't know how I was maybe or probably 15 years old. yeah, ish. And then
Mm-hmm.
there was like this international website that you kind of like went into and like chat with like strangers. So it was like in the messenger era, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
I remember like meeting all these people and like, you know, talking whatever things. And my father, who I actually thought he was never gonna find out, come on, like he didn't even know how to use the computer. He found out. And he came to me and he said like, "Hey David, so I don't know how to talk to you, but I found this." And I was like, "What?" And you know what was my first thing to do? I was like, "No, that wasn't me. That was like a hacker." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on. Do you think that would do that?" And he was like, "Well, I mean, if you would do that, I mean, what can I say? As you will have to just come up to me clean, and that for me, that's what matters." And I was like, "No, no, no." And bro, after one day, I think I was walking to school with him, and I just like said to him, "Hey, do you remember the conversation we had the other day?" And he was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Well, yeah, maybe it was me." And he was like, "Yeah, well, I knew it, but you just didn't want to say it." And I was like, "Yeah, well, yeah, that's life." And he was like, "You know, I, in my mind and in my heart, I didn't raise you to be like that. But obviously, you're my son, and I would just love to be I would love you just the way you are. So I don't care. Like, just be you, be happy. That's what matters." And that's when I like, you know, happy for me was like, I have to be happy, even though sadness comes in the way. I have to be happy.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful because I can imagine that a lot of other families maybe wouldn't react it that easily or that accepting.
No, 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 no. And as I told you, in like Colombia, it's very conservative and like for anything, like for example, I have friends that they wanted to be dancers, but the family want them to be lawyers. So like from the beginning, they like changed. Um, they don't give them support anymore. They kind of like make them feel ashamed because they're not doing something that it's worth in life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just as I was telling you before. It's not about like what you like in your sexuality, but it's more about life in general. Like people judge and
Mm-hmm.
people they just want us to fit in this schema, in this like box of way of behaving, and that's I think that's not how it works. But yeah, that's life.
So at a young age, you already decided, okay, I want to leave Colombia for a while, I want to go travel, and then you decided you wanted to go to Australia.
No, yeah, I wanted. No, I went. I went to Australia. It was like my first experience out of Colombia. I went to
For
Australia.
how long?
I lived there for 3 years almost. I was living in Sydney. I moved because of my English mostly. Like, yeah, I mean, I needed a language, and I was in high school. I was not very responsible with the English. I was just like, I am not gonna need English. Never. Like, why? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why do I need English? And then, bro, I wanted to study something that like really I needed English. So I moved to Australia, and yeah, I stayed there for 3 years. And being in Australia made me come back to Colombia because I met a lot of people, actually a lot of Germans, a
Yeah.
lot of English people, Australians as well. But the thing is that people always have in their mind that Colombia is like this or that. It's like the first thing they say to you is like, "Oh, Colombia, tú, this," and I'm like, "Well, no, it's not just about that." Colombia is not about like narco traffic and like blah and like insecurity. No, it's not about that. So I felt a little bit disconnected to my roots in like that situation because I'm Colombian and I couldn't be like a proud like like with my flag like yeah this is Colombia. I didn't have the
Mm-hmm.
like the arguments to come back to you and say well no it's not. So I decided to go back to Colombia after a little travel around South America. And then, yeah, I came back to Colombia, and that's how my project started because I got into university to study what I wanted. I studied hotel management,
You
tourism,
did that
and hotel
in
management.
Australia,
No, that in Colombia.
in Colombia. Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
in
I
Australia?
in Australia I did English courses and I did some hospitality courses. That
Okay.
was like that's the only thing I did. And I was like, come on, I was living life. It was my first time out of Colombia, living by
Mm-hmm.
myself. I was 17 years old in Australia.
Pretty
So,
young.
yeah, yeah. So when I go back to Colombia, I got into university. I started my studies, and I remember I was with my phone. I was always like taking pictures and stuff. And one of my good friends from high school, actually, she comes to me and she says, um, David, have you ever wondered like what if you bought a camera? Like what happens if you get yourself a camera? And I was like, oh yeah, maybe it wouldn't be like that bad. And I got myself a camera. That was a present from I think my mom and my dad. Yeah, they got me a camera. I was like, yeah, I was very happy like doing my things. And I mean, I had the time. I was studying. I was in university. I was working as well because I was paying my studies. Like I have been very, how do you say that? Auto suficiente,
Yeah, independent.
independent. Yes, I have been very
Mm-hmm.
independent since I left to Australia. And bro, yeah, I mean, I go back to Colombia, and that's how all everything started. Like
That's how
real
you
life.
embarked on your journey to become a
Yeah,
photographer,
yeah,
videography, and stuff.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yes, that was the beginning.
Can you can you tell what initially drove you towards this creative art of taking pictures and videos? What is it about that?
I think it's always been about creating memories, like places that I've been to. Yeah, just to have something to remember and to well that I mean that was the beginning, and then it transformed because then with that I wanted to like inspire. I like it's but it started from like just captivating or like capturing pictures to save a moment. That was it. Like I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
remember that I've been there and like I met these people and blah blah blah. But then it just suddenly changed because opportunity came, and I was very surprised by like getting huge opportunity of creating content. So I was at that point. As I told you, that's what the reason. One of the reasons why I came back to Colombia, because I needed a proof. I needed something to show the world that Colombia was more than just whatever. So with my camera, I decided to travel around Colombia and capture these moments, these people, these landscapes, everything that just show Colombia in a different way. Something that really kind of like connected and like, yeah, show just people that Colombia is more than just like one thing or two. It's like at the
Mm-hmm.
end, it's a beautiful place. And yeah, that's how when I transformed, because I just didn't want to make a memorable situation. I did want to inspire people by my eyes, like what I was seeing. And yeah,
I think somewhere you mentioned hidden paradise about Colombia, right? Did I
yeah,
remember that correctly?
yes, I did. I did an article for a digital website,
Mm-hmm.
and it was called Hidden Paradise. Yeah.
Um,
How do you
what
know
would you
that?
say? Hmm?
How do you know that?
I did my research.
Oh, okay.
The article is still online, so I saw it.
Yeah, nice.
So what would you say? Why is Colombia a hidden paradise?
Well, because it has just too much to offer. It's a beautiful green place, like it's just vibrant, full of life. Beautiful people. We Colombians are very particular because, like, I know, like, I've lived in Australia, I live here now in Europe, and I mean, I'm always surrounded by so many different cultures, but I know Colombians, we are very particular. Like we are just us. Like when you meet a Colombian, it's like, oh, Colombians. And but yeah, it's such a beautiful country, and bro, the places that you've seen, like when you get into like Colombia, like deep Colombia, it's beautiful, beautiful.
What's the most beautiful place for you in Colombia?
Oh, I have so many, but like one of my spots, just because of this is where everything started as a photographer and like the energy that it has. It's El Parque Tayrona, Tayrona National Park. It's
Mm-hmm.
um it's this beautiful coastline, just protected not just by the government, but by the indigenous as well, because it's
Mm-hmm.
in a special place for them. So yeah,
Where is it located in Colombia?
in Santa Marta, in the coast, in the
Uh,
Caribbean
in the
coast.
coast. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a very different Caribbean. It's just wild with mountains, with like, yeah, it's very bushy, and I don't know. It's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
You mentioned you got the opportunity to create content. Was that already in Colombia that you started working as a
Yeah,
photographer?
yeah. I mean, so I met these people on Instagram or whatever, and they were. I mean, I was following them, and they were just traveling, going around, creating content, blah blah blah. And I think when I started, there was maybe nobody like I was doing, because they were like influencers, how they call them. They were
Mm-hmm.
influencers, just creating content, traveling, blah, 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 blah. But then there was nobody like showing that part of Colombia like in a professional, like artistic way. So I wanted to do that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try. And these people, they were like, David, go for it. Like, I mean, you have the eye, you have the look, you have the talk, you have everything. Just go for it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started, and I remember I posted one picture with the tree house. I think was one of my very first successful pictures because it just went viral all over the world. Like people like
Wow.
from I remember the States, Brazil, Europe, like reposted my picture, and I was like, "What's happening?" Like when you go to bed and like you post something and then like boom,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "Oh, sugar, it's something's happening." So it just like I mean, a lot of people came, and when that happened, I remember one agency looked for me because of the picture, and they were like, "Hey, so we're this Colombian agency, travel agency. Would you like to meet?" And I was like, "Yes, why not? Yeah, let's do it." And the
Yeah.
funny thing is, I was there in a meeting with a famous girl in Colombia that she's someone that it's in the news, like
Mm-hmm.
who gives yeah, the pre lady, and she had
Mm-hmm.
like so many thousands and thousands of followers, and she was on TV, and I was like, damn. So we were like kind of fighting for the spot with the agency, and I was like,
Ah, okay.
what am I doing here? Like she's famous, I'm like nobody, like
Uh-huh.
what's this about? And then she left, and I stayed with the owner of the agency, and he was like, you know what, I think she talk a lot, and I think she's very pretentious. And I was like, what else do you expect? She's famous. She wants everything on the table. And he was like, well, yeah, but you know what's the thing that I think I like your work a lot, and so I'm gonna try to pair you up because it would be nice, just to for you to go with her and blah blah blah. But then she something happened and she didn't like go with the project, so I did
Mm-hmm.
go with the project.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that was my first like contract as a content creator, and I went to the Amazon to yeah, explore nature, like everything inside, the tribes, like the indigenous tribes.
Mm-hmm.
It was just crazy. It was crazy for me. It wasn't real. It was like, what is this for real? And yeah, from there everything just like a ball, like a snowball.
So in this case, they told you, hey, this is the project we want pictures, we want videos, whatever, and
Yeah,
they took care of all the expenses, and then you basically did the trip and worked
yeah.
from there as a
Yeah,
photographer.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. As a content creator, and then, I mean, I was doing my socials as well back in the time because I'm not doing it anymore like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I just got overwhelmed by after COVID of the social media. Like my mindset kind of like changed, but I think we will get there later.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like I was creating content, and yeah, I got everything for free. I was like what?
So when was that? What year?
That was in 2018.
Okay, so 6 years ago.
Yeah.
What happened in that whole time frame?
Wow, so many things. Like, I mean, I started working a lot. So many brands coming to me, big brands like Huawei, Air Europa. There were like so many things happening. And I mean, I remember I was in Dominican Republic for the tourism board because, yeah, I was working for them. And I had an accident. I broke my leg because I'm a monkey, man. I'm always like in the trees and like jumping around. So I had this accident which kind of like made me slow down, like, take it easy, David. So I remember being like very quiet because I needed like I had so many projects, so I like needed to be good. I was quiet for like 3 months, I think. And then the first thing that I did, I mean, like the accident was in September, okay? September, October, November. In December, I did a small trip with a company that I was working with. Um, and then the first thing that I did, I was like, I need to go somewhere. I took a flight to Spain in January 2020. I came here. Obviously, I have family in Sevilla, and then I also needed to do some business network and stuff in this huge tourism fair in Madrid called Fitur. Okay, and I mean, I was there, just doing some like networking, meeting some like influencers, content creators, just whatever happens. I mean, I'm here. So I came here. I kind of like travel. I was supposed to go to India, but because of my leg, like during my travels here in Spain, my leg got a little bit worse. I mean, I was very anticipated, I would say, to be just like doing normal life because my injury was a very complicated one. But I was like, yeah, who cares? I mean, at the end, and then COVID happened. I was here and I was supposed to go back to Colombia in April, pardon, in April, and everything I think started in March. Wait, yeah.
Yeah, I think somewhere around that time, yeah.
Yeah, so I was actually in Barcelona on my way to Paris. My third attempt to visit Paris, and it didn't happen because
Hmm.
of COVID. So in Barcelona, I called my sister and I showed her around how the airport was, and it was just. Have you seen any like zombie movies, Tim? I mean,
I don't know.
I'm not a fan of zombie movies, but have you seen anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, just like that. Like there was nobody, people running around like with the masks, and I was like, what
Hmm.
is happening, man? This is crazy. So I kind of like got the the scaredness and like the feeling. So I went back
Hmm.
to Sevilla and then I got locked down and I stayed here. I was with my partner for almost 7 years in Colombia. So yeah, everything it was just like so I decided to stay in Spain. I mean, I was like, maybe this is a good opportunity for me because I can get to new clients, like new.
Hmm.
But it just didn't happen. I stayed for nothing at the beginning because Spain was a very difficult market for what I was doing. Just because I
Hmm.
mostly my audience was from Latin America and like they were not taking serious my work, so it just like pulled me down. So that's when I had the breakdown of social
Hmm.
media because like I couldn't do what I was like meant to be doing. Um, and yeah, everything transformed because yeah, obviously I loved creating content, and in that moment that I couldn't make it, I was just very in my head.
Hmm.
And but that pushed me again. It pushed me again, and here I
What would you
am.
say? What did it teach you? This moment, this change.
Well, it teaches you that you can just do anything you want. Bro, I'm again creating content for companies. Like I'm just doing what I love. And even though I kind of like got out a little bit of tourism and traveling, I think I needed a change, like for good, because like I still can travel, but it's not the pressure every time. Like I remember with my ex-partner, like every time it was like, no, come on, really, like just let's breathe, like just chill. And I mean, I'm content creator. I'm always thinking about like doing something. So yeah,
Hmm.
that happened.
What's what's your process for taking the perfect photo, especially when you're capturing a new place, for example, or you're working with a brand?
Well, usually, just like you, Tim, I do my research. And when I do my research, obviously I go into like, let's say, Google Earth. I like, find locations. This just to save up time. For example, I'm going to the Dolomites on Friday. I've been to the Dolomites actually 2 years ago, but I want to go because I do want to create content about the Dolomites. Like this is a place that
Hmm.
inspire me of doing what I do now. So this time I want to do kind of like very nice, inspiring videos, like something that just, like embrace who I am. And yeah, but anyways, the perfect, yeah, that would be doing my research. Then when I get to the place, the lightning, it's just very important. Like, sunrise, sunsets, never like midday lights. It's just very strong. I mean, it's good, but it's not like, I mean, what I'm looking for. Usually I take a lot, like, figuring like what's gonna be the angle, if this is the right position, if I want to focus on this, on that. Do I want to put like a main focus, like a person, but like very far, far away? I mean, I do it like while I'm doing it. Like it's like I have my idea, but sometimes it changes. Like the idea I had, it just happened to be different. Like I prefer another one, you know?
Hmm.
So I think it's not right. It's just have an eye always. I love just enjoying everything.
When you're traveling and you're used to taking a lot of pictures, and maybe that it changed a little bit for you because you're not creating as much content as you're used to. But I often, when I see people traveling, they see these beautiful buildings, they see the nature, whatever, and they take a lot of pictures. And I see people not really appreciating the moment because they're just trying to capture it. And maybe they look at the pictures again afterwards. Maybe they don't even look at the pictures afterwards. So, how did you, or are you appreciating the moment as well when you're out in nature?
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely I am. For example, as I said to you, I was there 2 years ago. I didn't really create content. Like, I mean, I did things, but I really enjoyed. Like, I was just so blown away by the nature, by like the beauty itself. Like, I went in autumn as well, and I think I never, ever, not even in Australia, I have been like in an autumn kind of place. So first I was in the south of Germany and with this beautiful like trees, like, yellows, reds, and like for me it was just surreal. I felt like how do you call it? Caperucita Roja in English? The red,
No, say.
come on, the story with the wolf that dresses as her grandmother.
I don't know the English word or the
Yeah, I don't
English
know
name.
either. Caperucita
Yeah.
Roja. I felt like that in all these places. So for me, it wasn't about like creating content. And obviously, when I'm traveling, I take my time to enjoy. So usually, for example, I have my schedules. So I do, let's say, one hour, 2 hour shooting per
Hmm.
day. Okay, 1 2 hour. Obviously, the rest I'm taking obviously pictures. But when I'm like focused, I take like 2 hours shooting and then I enjoy. So
Hmm.
obviously it's very important, but like for me as a content creator, I can actually just take myself out of that people that is just like taking pictures randomly because I'm doing it with a purpose.
Hmm.
So by that is just way different. Come on. I'm trying to
Yeah.
create something that is going to be meaningful for me, for people. And it's not just, "Oh, I took this picture of like, the tree." No, I mean, the tree
Yeah.
is beautiful, but like, I want to capture and like create a moment, create a something that is gonna um, last long in the future. So yeah,
That totally makes sense. You're doing it with a purpose. You have this meaning
yeah,
behind it. You're thinking about it. You're planning it. So it already through this process, it gives value to the thing you're doing, and probably then it's easier to when you're done with that process, and then it's more about appreciating the here and now and the nature
yeah,
and whatever it is.
yeah,
What
yeah,
would be your
definitely.
advice for someone to, because if I was thinking about traveling somewhere and I wanted to create this moment without having a lot of experience, what would be your advice for giving meaning to that moment and really capturing something special? Because everyone can take just a random picture, but what's your thought behind that when you're thinking about, for example, now you wanted to go to the Dolomites, you have your, maybe you already have some locations in mind or something. What is your thought pattern behind that?
Well, I mean, for me, I would just say from like in a recommendation way, like to somebody, like for me at the end, um, back to my roots, back to where everything began. Um, I wanted to make a memorable situation. So if for you or for anybody that maybe is out there that wants to go, let's say to Indonesia, that is like so popular right now, it's not about like compare like you it just goes back. I think everything applies in life, in like personal life. First, do not compare to anybody, because like at the end what I do, what some uh professional filmmaker does, I cannot compare, otherwise I'm gonna be always like letting myself down. So just be you and do the best you can, like your eye can do. So just enjoy. For me, the most important thing is enjoying. Like whenever I'm like creating a moment or like a scene, you don't know how like excited I get. It's like, oh, because I'm like feeling it. So it's about that, feeling the moment, feeling the situation, feeling the environment. Just go for it. And if you want to get like better quality, better things, just do research. Like I mean, I didn't go to school for creating content. Like I started from YouTube. Like just going like what camera to buy first. So I think it all comes to how dispuesto is, like how willing are you to just do your things. So I mean, just by the fact of traveling, if you are afraid of traveling, because I don't know, you don't like to be alone, or well, maybe just find a travel agency that do travel groups, like with people in your age. Like there are specialized in things that you can do. So it's not always about making an excuse, because I think that's what we do all the time. We just like, oh no, I don't like, I don't go to the nature because I'm scared of snakes. I've heard that so many times, and I'm like, but like, um, I mean, yes. So, but do you think snakes are everywhere? I mean, like, there are some places that there are no snakes, and if there are, they can, they maybe they're not like dangerous. So it's not about finding every time an excuse, like I'm scared, I don't like that, or I mean, just do it, do it.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, our mind is amazing. You can spin up scenarios that are negative. You can spin up scenarios that are awesome. If I decide I want to have a bad day, I'm having a bad day. If I want to decide I have a good day, I'm I'm able to get myself into the mood of having a good day. So if I believe it's possible and I really want to do it, I can do it. It's all about priorities and having the right mindset and the
yeah,
right approach to it. Yeah.
yeah, of course, of course, of
Do
course.
you have a
In
life?
what?
Yeah. No, go
No,
ahead.
I was gonna say that in pandemia, I read this book called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. I don't know if you have um,
No. What's it
so
about?
it's about letting loose like so many things, and like when you create like a mindset in life, and you understand that that comes from a place of fear, of love, of whatever, then you can really develop so many things in life. And I think negative and like positive. Like you need just, it's not bad to have it. It's just good to canalize. Do you know what that is? Like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like put it in a
To kind of
purpose. Like
streamline it, or yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Just, I mean, fearness is not bad. Like sadness is not bad. Like you just have to really understand what when it's coming from and like how it's supposed to help you. So yeah, that's just wanted to say. Read the book. It's very nice, Tim.
Say again, what's the name?
The monk who sold his Ferrari.
Okay, already sounds interesting. I think maybe this is also, you can create like the first step that happens when you're thinking about something, you're creating some scenario, something in your mind, and then your energy is kind of focused on this scenario. And eventually, if you're open to the idea and you take the right steps, you can create this thing in real life as well. It might not be the exact same thing you imagined, but in some form or shape, it's gonna appear. And I truly believe that. I truly believe you can think of something, and if you're doing it right and you're pushing the energy in the right direction, you're gonna create it in some sense in your life.
Yeah, obviously, obviously. At the end, when you visualize things and you work for them, as you say, it might not work or go the way you think, but at the end, you're gonna get there. And I think timing for everybody is different, for me, for you. So it's just, enjoy the process. And yeah,
Do you have a life vision?
wow. I mean, I could just like, be living in a house, like, like a very organic house by the beach and, just enjoying life. That would be my perfect. I love the beach, but with mountains. That's why I love Mallorca. That's why I'm living here.
Mm-hmm. Close to the ocean, good weather.
Yes. Yeah, good weather. I need for do hiking and but yeah, I think, from next year I'm gonna kind of like get back to my travels a little bit more. I mean, this year I haven't been really doing much. I have been just to Paris finally. I have been to Paris and then some places in Spain, Sevilla a lot. I just came from Sevilla this weekend and now to the Dolomites. And at the end of the year, I'm still deciding because I might go to Indonesia.
Mm-hmm. Where
But
everyone is
it's,
going.
yeah, but like, yeah, I wanna, like, come on, before it's just like, I mean, it's already, but
Um, Maybe if you're saying you don't really have like this clear one life vision, but maybe let's spin up a scenario like can you imagine your perfect year? What would that look like? Where would you go? What would you do? Do you want to stay in one place? Would you rather like have a stay in one place for a while, then travel again? Like what would be your perfect year?
wow. My perfect year. I mean, well, either way, I mean, I'm very easy. I could be, I mean, right now, and as I told you before, I have a different mindset, and I think I really want to like focus on my job, and like I have been developing a lot of opportunities here in Mallorca and in Spain even with companies. I work in real estate now, so it's I do want to have like a place to maybe I can call home. Like, every time that I just, if I go around, because that's something that was happening before. Like I was just like here, here, here. But then I want a place that I can go home. And it's just, it's always gonna be there, but I can be anywhere. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't really mind being in Indonesia and like, finding a job. For example, I have this friend that it's a content creator, and he said to me like, because I posted something like, "Hey, so summer season is ending," and he was like, "Hey, come to Bali because here is never ending." And I was like, "Yeah, bro, but like, come on, if I go to Bali, it would be nice to like have clients and everything." And he was like, "Oh, clients here rise, like rise." And you know what? I actually need a photographer for a project. Do you wanna come? And I was like, "Oh shit." So yeah, I mean, for me, lifestyle, I do want to go back a little bit to exploring the world because I love cultures. I love the differences between people, like how we think, how we were raised, a religion. It's just so intriguing and so amazing. And I still wanna like that's what I wanna take with me when I'm not here. Like, you know, all that I've lived. And yeah.
Would you say you have a certain belief, or um, are you religious in some sense, or is it more spirituality? What's your
Yeah,
approach
I
to that?
think no, I think it's more spirituality.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like no, I with religion I'm just very not friends with them. It's just for me it's just very tough and very orthodox, like very like you know they wanna like create something that maybe sometimes we are not. But I do
Mm-hmm.
believe like in energies. I do believe in yeah, of course, obviously if you wanna call it God, like obviously we were made from something. But I just yeah, in religion, I think it's just a topic that I'm very sensible with. It's just like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
there is fine. I mean, I love churches. I every time I go to a place, I want to go to a church because for me it's a place that is just wow. It's crazy how they have done that. But yeah.
Yeah. So I have one last question for you, and maybe you already saw it beforehand when I sent you my email.
Oi, 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 oi. Tell me.
What does bridging worlds mean to you in your life, in your private life, in your career?
Bridging walls. I mean, if I understand well the word, it means like uniting, right? Like creating that bridge. Bro,
It
for
can mean
me,
anything.
but listen, for me, okay, if I go of what I think, for me, first of all, they wouldn't need to be bridges because we are like one planet Earth. Like we are just one, you know? And all the barriers we have created, which I do understand that comes from a place of constructing and like, you know, manipulating or just creating an identity. It's okay, but there shouldn't be like these bridges. Like we need to accept each other. We need to like really love each other. And that's what like back to what I was saying before. I just, you know, I have met so many people. And obviously, I'm not saying that there are not bad people in the world, but maybe it's my energy. I attract the beautiful people that it's around. And I love that. Every time that I go to a place, it's just like, you know, somebody that comes and says like, "Oh my God, have we met?" And I'm like, "No." And then she's like, "Oh," he is like, "Oh, but I think I've seen you." And I'm like, "Well, you know, it's just the energy when you kind of like connect with people. That's for me like creating a nest of energy and like people around the world, and that's beautiful. I I believe that we need to work more as society and humans for this because like we are really struggling. Come on, right now it's crazy, but it's happening like over one place and then the other is like it's just unreal. And but that's life, and it's real, but it's just crazy. It's very sad.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful what you said. I mean, we have these struggles and we have these topics, but if you have this mindset of even saying like there shouldn't be any bridges, and for me there are no bridges because we are all a whole, we are all somehow together, and we are more connected and similar in some sense than we sometimes think. And I think if more people had this mindset, it would improve rapidly.
Yeah. But you know, my sister, going back to the spirituality, she's a yoga thing and she does astrology and whatever. And I mean, and I've seen it obvious because she works in that. She's seen it more, but like she tells me that after COVID, and mostly here in Europe, a lot of people are kind of like searching and seeking for that like authentic place of how you think or who you are, or this is wrong, you know? So I think it's good to question. What do you think?
What do you mean? What is good to question, or what's important to
Everything,
question?
everything in life. It's
Definitely,
like,
I think you. Yeah, for me, I think you should always question the status quo. That doesn't mean that you see it in a negative way, but I think it's important because either you get to a point or an answer for yourself that you agree and you see the good and how something is,
yeah,
or you see a different perspective. Also, nowadays, we're living in this echo chambers. We're surrounded by like-minded people. The algorithms and the social media channels, they're suggesting content that fuels us with what we already believe. So stepping out of that zone is sometimes a little uncomfortable, but necessary, I think, because only because everyone in our surroundings is supporting this one belief, for example, doesn't mean that it's the right belief. I'm not saying there's a right belief or
yeah,
a wrong belief, but I'm saying you need to step into different shoes, step into different perspectives to fully appreciate the world and what's happening, and then try to think of your own, try to make up your own belief about a situation, because I think nowadays also often we are not originally, we are not, we're forming our opinions and beliefs often based on other people's opinions and beliefs. And I mean, now we could get into the discussion if there's like free will and free um, belief, and I mean, it's somehow always influenced, but not just accept something like it is, build your own belief, and then discussions happen that are so important where we can get to a point of mutual understanding about a situation, because often we're discussing in a way that we want to get our opinion out, and where the conversation is not based on the fundamental understanding of being open and I want to
yeah,
understand you. So you're
yeah,
telling me something, and I think the best way in that case, for example, we're having a conflict or a discussion, and you're telling me something, and I believe the first thing you should do is listen carefully to what the other person is saying, and maybe even reaffirming what the person is saying, even if you don't believe it or not, you're not supporting their thought, but telling them, hey, this is what you said. Is that what you mean? And then we can get to a point of really talking about what's really in the
yeah,
what's really the essence of it, because then we are appreciating the other person, and it's about mutual respect, and I think then we can get to a point of understanding.
yeah. No, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
It's cool.
All
I mean,
right.
you have since the first time I saw you, I knew you were very like, this guy is just like a global guy.
That's what you thought about me.
Yeah, just by talking to you and like the way of how you manage your maybe thoughts, and like maybe because you listen, and like there are things that you just see in people,
Mhm.
of course.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I believe in people. I think you can say it like that. And I'm genuine. How do you say that word? I'm really
Genuine,
interested
yeah.
in people. Like I
Yeah,
want to hear their stories, and I want to talk to them, and I want to understand what makes them them. And that only happens if you're listening and you're asking the right questions. And I
yeah,
think that's what often nowadays doesn't happen. Really having interest in other people and asking the right questions. And if you get to a point where you can do that, and hopefully it comes back, then you can create this real deep understanding of a person and their
yeah,
situation. And you can understand the
yeah,
filters, because your world is a totally different world than mine. And I'm consuming information through the filters of my experience, through the filters
yeah.
of my beliefs, you as well. So if you understand that, then you realize why it's hard to sometimes understand each other. Even
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a context of a friendship, even in a context of a loving relationship, it needs discussion, it needs openness, it needs the will to understand the other person.
And you know what's funny? That now you have this show and you get listens to so many
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. I mean, life led me to this moment, and I really appreciate it, and I'm really grateful
It's
for that.
it's very
Yeah.
nice, and I'm happy for you that you are doing something that moves you. You know, at the end, as you just said, like I think you said it in conscious. Like I love uh people, like just
Hmm.
understanding where they're coming from, and now you have this platform on where you can actually hear so many stories and really understand and I think communicate to the people out there that are looking for answers or entertainment or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's very nice.
Yeah. I
Congratulations.
think so too. Thank you. All right, David. Thank
All
you for being
right,
on the show.
Timmy. Thank you.
And if people want to stay up to date with your content, with your photography, and anything else, where should they go?
They should go to David or David Merizalde. I don't know how you would say that in English.
I will put
Merizalde.
the link in the description.
Yes, yes, but come to my space, come to my secret and beautiful spot of inspiring and traveling around the world. So yeah, I'll see you and I'll see
Awesome.
you there, Tim, as well.
Yeah, see you there. I always appreciate you. Thank you for being on the show, and I'll see you
Dankeschön,
in the
Dankeschön.
next one. Dankeschön. Gracias.
Yeah, wir sehen uns Mallorca.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Just a quick reminder. If you like this episode, please rate the podcast show, subscribe to not miss any future episodes. And if you like this one, please share it with a friend. Also, thank you so much for following on my journey. I'm really excited about the future, and I'll see you in the next one.